Hey everybody, welcome back to Gin Knits. I have a really exciting video for you today. As the title suggests, it is Best Celebrity Knitwear Moments. So what is a best celebrity knitwear moment? Well, of course it could be an iconic knit in a movie, an iconic individual wearing an iconic knit, a celebrity sighting. It could be a legendary photograph of a celebrity in a boat, hint hint. And in today's video, I want to go through 5 iconic celebrity knitwear moments and patterns that I found that you can use to recreate these iconic celebrity knitwear moments. So if you've got your knitting and a couple of minutes, I'd love for you to stay and we can talk about it. So let's get into it. So the first knit I want to talk about is that iconic red sweater that Princess Diana wore before she was Princess Diana. And it is just that beautiful red sweater with the white sheep and the black sheep. And I think it was at a polo match, but this sweater has just, stood the test of time. I swear, like if I saw this sweater on the street, I would have immediately thought of Princess Diana. So that is a really good example of an iconic celebrity knitwear moment because it is one that has defined both like what you think about when you see this, and also most people could envision Princess Diana wearing this beautiful sweater. So lucky for you, there is a free pattern that goes along with this sweater. It is the Diana Black Sheep sweater knitted in fingering weight yarn on 3mm needles. So it is a little tight. But I think this sweater would just be so fun to knit. Not only is it color work, and I'm sort of always looking for interesting patterns that are challenging me, and I haven't really done a large scale color work project like this. So I think this would be a really exciting one to do. I think it would just keep you really engaged, and it doesn't look too complicated. I think once you get the hang of it, I think it would just be so impressive to say like, oh my gosh, I knitted that myself. And I mean, everything that anybody knits is always so impressive, but this really would be one that I would be quite proud of if I could pull it off. This sweater, I don't know if I would knit it in red. Is that a hot take? Maybe. I might knit it in red. I mean, it really does make the white and the black pop, but if you wanted something a little subtler, it could be quite interesting to work with more similar colors rather than having the black and white sheep and the single colored background. They could be all shades of blue or like all shades of gray. Like that could be a really interesting one. And then you could still keep the black sheep to sort of signify the sweater's namesake. But I think there's ways to get crafty if you don't really want to do a total Princess Diana lookalike, and I understand that it might be sort of quite a commanding sweater to wear in certain situations. So yeah, the more that I think about these sort of light colors, I think there's something really wonderful about not using contrast colors in color work, and it's kind of from a distance. I mean, well, I really should be wearing glasses for distance because from a distance, everything looks good to me. But I would say for people like me that are nearsighted, so from a distance, I think it would just be so beautiful. All of the sheep would sort of blend in to the background color. And the closer you get, the more you start realizing that there are actually sheep designed into this color work sweater. And I think that would just be so cool. That's something that I really have to think about because, sometimes you just want more subtle color work, and maybe like that might fit into your wardrobe a little bit better than a bright red and white and black sweater. But honestly, if bright colors are your thing, you go for it because all the power to you. That is amazing. I'm more of a neutrals girl, as you can tell. But I just think this sweater is so iconic and so beautiful, and I'd really love to see if any of you make it. So the next best celebrity knitwear moment to bring things into the future a little bit is this iconic hat worn by Mary-Kate Olsen. And this is a celebrity like paparazzi shot, I think. And what is so iconic is how many times Mary-Kate has worn this hat. And I actually don't think she's ever released it on the row. It must be something that maybe they made as part of their kind of design process, but like all things from the row, I think if she had released it, it would be everywhere. So part of me thinks that she never released it for whatever reason, and it has remained this iconic piece that she really just covets and wears so well. And she's not a very tall person. I think she's about 5 foot. So this big sort of oversized chunky hat towering above her, there's something so beautiful about it and just cool. Like it is so, she's so chic. And this sort of like mustardy brown is what I want to call this hat color, but maybe it's more camel. I don't know. I get like mustardy brown from it. Is so beautiful. So if you are inspired to wear a large chunky hat like Mary Kate, I think the double hat by Winter's Weather Knits could be a really, really good alternative. So the double hat is knitted in light fingering yarn on 2.75 millimeter needles. And as you can see, this design it's a double layered, sort of double folded hat, but I had some ideas on how to make it look more like Mary Kate Olsen's. And that I think could be achieved through using a thicker weight yarn. So instead of using light fingering, if you held 2 strands of, I think like Cardiff cashmere could be really beautiful. I love like a cashmere hat. It's so comfortable on my forehead. I know it's a little bit pricey, but in a small garment like that, it's a really good and effective use of yarn. I think expensive yarn, that is. And I think you could, like, there's something about Cardiff cashmere. It's a little like squishy, and Mary Kate Olsen's hat looks squishy. So I think it would be a really good match. And honestly, if you sized up the yarn, maybe if you even added a few more stitches, like if you added 10 or 12 or even 20 stitches, which I know is kind of crazy, but I like to always sort of add an even number based on the amount of stitches that you cast on. And that might also help to give you sort of the oversized look sort of in the circumference, which I think is like a really innate part of Mary Kate Olsen's hat. And as I was talking about in my last video, I am really interested in hat knitting at the moment because I think finding the perfect hat pattern is quite difficult. There are so many wonderful sweaters and slipovers and vests and cardigans and socks, even though I haven't knit socks, but socks. There are just so many incredible patterns that exist. And for some reason, I haven't been able to find the perfect hat, maybe until now. But there's something about a hat that, like, I want it to be chunky, but not too chunky. I want it to have some height, but not too much height. I want it to have a bit of slouch, but not too slouchy. And I don't want it to like be a skull cap because I find that to be not the most flattering on me. And I also don't like when it squishes my hair. So I have a lot of requirements from what I want out of a hat pattern. And I really think that I'm going to give this double hat a try to achieve what I'm seeing as one of my ideal hats, which is Mary Kate Olsen's iconic hat in this image. So I really think that if you too are on a hat knitting journey like myself, then this could be a really great opportunity to test out a new pattern. So going back in time now is that iconic photo of Steve McQueen in the Thomas Crown Affair wearing that beautiful cable knit sweater. And lucky for all of us, there actually is a pattern dedicated to this iconic photograph. It is the Steve McQueen Aran jumper by Nolene Patricia Duggan. And this beautiful cable knit sweater is an all over cable knit knitted in Aran weight yarn on 5 millimeter needles. And this sweater just looks like the coziest gift knit that you could knit for yourself or a man in your life, whether it's a boyfriend, husband, father, brother, friend, yourself again. But this iconic sweater, you know, like it's one of those photographs that has just been sort of immortalized. It is so beautiful. It is really true what they say of these woolen creations that we make as knitters. They just never age. Like, sort of, you can go back in time 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and that beautiful wool sweater is still just as beautiful and just as timeless and wearable as it was then, as it is now, as it will be 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now. So it is a good testament of how cable knit sweaters just never go out of style. And this beautiful sweater, I just think would be so fun to make in that perfect cream. But it could also be really beautiful in a nice gray. Again, here I am with the grays. But there's something about it that just, you know, is calling me and makes me want to knit this iconic sweater. So that is the Steve McQueen Aran jumper. So to bounce back into the future, we are talking about Miss Alexa Chung. And oh my gosh, if you were on Tumblr back in the early 2010s, you know Alexa Chung. She is a woman that needs no introduction. She is this iconic model. She is so beautiful and stylish and fun, and every time I see outfits that she's wearing, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really want to recreate that. And this photo has been living on my Pinterest board for a while, and it is this iconic navy cable knit jumper that Alexa Chung is wearing in what looks like New York. And it's perfectly oversized. The cables are perfectly sort of subtle in the sweater, which sometimes is really nice. Like, sometimes you want to really emphasize your cables, but other times cables are something that sometimes I think that a sweater can be a little bit more wearable if the cables are blended in. And you know, there's something about a navy jumper that just never gets old. It is so timeless. And the way that this one just fits her is so perfect. So I think the Honeycomb Aran by Gail Bunn could be a really perfect pattern to achieve this look like Alexa Chung's jumper. And I'm thinking particularly about the honeycomb part. And I see that the cables are not quite the same, but I don't really find that to be a problem. If you would like more of an exact match, then let me know. But this, I feel like it's giving the same energy and it's giving the same sort of vibe. And I really just love honeycomb cables. I think they're so pretty and squishy and nice. And I think that this sweater would just be so beautiful to wear with jeans or whatever you want. And you could sort of make it a little bit longer and a little bit boxier, but I think all around it's a really similar match to Alexa's jumper, and it would just be so perfect this time of year, in the fall when you don't even need to wear a coat, but also in the winter when you can start sort of layering. And just such a simple outfit. That's like one of my favorite things about being a knitter and having so many knits now in my exploding drawers, is that it's just like an instant outfit. Like, wearing a piece that you made is such a wonderful talking point. It's so sophisticated. They're so beautiful. It's these incredible handmade wearable pieces of art that we are so lucky to make. So that sounds like something up your alley. Then this sweater could be a really beautiful one to add to your collection if you wanted to emulate the same sort of vibe as Alexa Chung. And last but not least, we have Grace Kelly wearing this beautiful cable knit sweater on a sailboat. I've read multiple blogs dedicated to just this photo and just this sweater, trying to figure out where it was bought, when it was worn, all of the details about it, which I don't know if the internet has come to a conclusion on that, but you know, it's neither here nor there. The point of this video and the point of what I'm talking about is how can we emulate that same vibe of an iconic sweater like this. So I think I've actually found two options. The first is the book club pullover by Sari Nordland. And if you don't know who Sari Nordland is, she is an incredible knitwear designer. I believe she's Finnish, and she actually has a podcast here on YouTube and a YouTube channel. So she's like definitely one to check out if you haven't come across her things. And she is just so good at building these beautiful, intricate lace and cable work patterns. And these sort of crisscrossing cables is what I thought about when I was looking at Grace Kelly's jumper, and then that's what immediately drew me to Sari Nordland's book club pullover, because those crisscrosses, like, they're just so special. And I know that Grace Kelly's is a roll neck, so that's so easily modifiable. You just knit the neckline a little bit longer until you can comfortably roll it down, which I think actually would be so beautiful. And you could, it could just depend on who you are and if you like a roll neck. I know some people are quite sensitive around the necks. They don't really like wool up against them or mohair up against them, but this book club sweater could just be such a beautiful addition to your wardrobe. And I have this idea of, like, there is something, the rule when people are like, you can't wear white after Labor Day. It's a non-rule, but I think there's something so chic about wearing white pants in the winter. And I know they call it like winter whites, but a white pant with a cream colored cable knit sweater, I just think it's like perfect. And these sort of crisscross cables really lend themselves perfectly to a creamy yarn. I think it would really give them a lot of definition. You'd see them quite clearly. And I just think that would be I think it'd be really fun to knit too. Knitting cables are really fun, I think. I used to be really scared of them, but now I think they're really fun. And it's also really engaging. Like, the rounds go by quite fast because you're just thinking. It feels like you're doing an agility course. It's so, so fun. So that's the book club pullover by Sari Nordland. But if that's like not your thing, I found another option. And it is the Magna Knit from Skull Studios. And I'm kind of new to Skull Studios as a knitter, but I've heard about Skull Studios as, it's actually it's a clothing brand, and so they sell a lot of clothes and they sell knitwear, but little did I know, they also sell knitting patterns, which is, I just think, a genius thing for brands to do, and I think more brands should do it. But this beautiful Skull Studio sweater, it is so fun that you could just buy the pattern and make it yourself. I love the cable work on this sweater. I love the neckline. You could even knit it a little bit longer if you wanted it to roll down. I don't know if I would though, if it was me. I think I would keep it sort of the length that it is. There's something cozy about a high neck sweater that isn't rolled down. And these cables are just so beautiful. The crisscrossing is just so stunning. I do think it's a little bit more oversized than the sweater that Grace Kelly is wearing in that image. But I think that's sort of this cable sweater adopted for 2025, which is, of course, the year that we're in. And this, I just like, honestly, do I drop everything and cast on this Skull Studio sweater? I might have to. It's so pretty. And there is something so cool about a brand that, in addition to selling sweaters and clothing, trousers, all, like their entire line, but to include knitting patterns, I just feel so seen as a knitter. And I also I'm so excited about brands doing this. And I really hope more brands do this, because I think, it's a really interesting way to get an audience to connect deeply with your brand if they're willing to go home and make it themselves. And all Skull Studios is doing is selling us the pattern. But I think this is a really interesting find. And they also have a book, and I'm sort of thinking about getting the book too. But I think this sweater would be just a perfect match in vibe to that beautiful Grace Kelly sweater. And with that, those are the best celebrity knitwear moments, volume 1, because I think this is going to become a series. I think there's so many beautiful, iconic knitwear moments in our community, on the internet, in movies and shows, and in any sort of, I feel very inspired by seeing what other people wear. And that really is something that makes me think, oh, I could make that, oh, I could make that. So I think this series could be a really enjoyable one to make, and please let me know if you think the same, and if you come across an iconic celebrity knitwear moment that I've missed in this video, let me know in the comments below and I will add it to my next. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. This has been so great to catch up with you, and I can't wait to see you soon and hear about what you're knitting. So with that, thanks. Bye guys.